want to thank you for joining us today. Today we have Monique Nelson. Monique is the CEO of UWG Group, and UWG Group is a very substantive and sizable multicultural agency. And you've been doing this for many years now, and you are partially owned by WPP. And tell us just maybe first a little bit about UWG and your structure.
Sure. We are UWG Group, now known as UWG. UWG Group has been around for 51 years. We celebrated our 50th anniversary last year in 2019. So pretty awesome. We've been at this for a while. We've always believed that unique messaging for unique audiences were really important. We believe that diversity is where the best ideas can come from, and innovation and discovery really comes to life when you introduce new thinking, ideas, cultures, and everything else to the table. We know that that really does help problem solve in ways that a homogeneous group cannot.
So Monique, you've been doing this quite a while. Congratulations on the anniversary. How would you say multicultural messaging and branding and targeting has been shifting over the past years, and where is it going?
Sure. Multicultural marketing, like, any, area of marketing has had its ups and downs. And certainly, different targets and different communities, are also, in play in terms of size and scope, and ultimately what a brand would need in terms of engagement. So, earlier on, certainly it was about, making that business case, ensuring that people saw the value in these communities, and ensuring that they start a conversation and hold a conversation over time. And that is a testament to some of our longstanding clients for sure.
As opposed to jumping in and out of one.
Correct. Yeah. There's lots of folks that kind of say, oh, I need to talk to this audience right now. They do a quick project. You lose that champion and, voila. Or
it looks like it's a quick perfunctory or Band-Aid process rather than a sustaining, we need to.
Right. We really do believe that this should be an integral part of all of your marketing efforts, especially now. And, I can definitely tell you over the last probably, 5 to 7 years, it's, become more and more of an imperative, primarily because we are moving into the multicultural majority. Especially here in the US, we're talking about in 2020, the 18 and under population is officially majority minority. And then within that 51% majority, you've got 46% of that group that is intersectional. So that even, talks about even more complexity, but also I think, a lot more fun, right? You get to enjoy how, an Asian and Indian family, may combine a German and Puerto Rican family. How does that child now see the world? And it probably sees the world a little differently. And we've got to be able to meet those needs. So really exciting, I think, for us, and really redefining what that total market messaging really looks like.
What a fascinating challenge for you two, the term intersectional. Right, so that's got to be a fascinating opportunity. I'm sure you do research on it, and you're addressing those audiences. Absolutely,
yeah. I mean, the intersectionality is where the energy comes from, and at what point in your day are you feeling more, I feel like a mom, when I'm with my kids, but I'm a CEO right now, right? I feel very, very CEO-like in my green leather. But later on, I'll be a wife, I'll be a mother, and ultimately a partner and a friend. So, all of those things come into play, and my cultural dynamic could change at any moment with those engagements. So we want to be thoughtful about that. We know that also happens on the shopping journey, that, that comes into play in a very major way. And we like to pay attention to those little cues that allow people to express themselves fully.
Excellent. How about your clients? You talked about your employees. How are your clients adjusting? What are they saying? Are they looking to do advertising differently? I'm sure there may be some pulling back. What's the sensibility amongst the brands?
Yeah, and I have to say our clients have been absolutely amazing, extremely communicative as well. Really and truly, we've seen just a shift in terms of what they're going to run, holding back on things, driving people places, physical places, just being thoughtful about, the tone, and ensuring that, based on the client, what makes the most sense in this time and space, and then making sure that, of course, that we have messaging that matches that. So, some of our clients have just universal messaging that they're, putting in place, and we're working on some of the pieces underneath. Others have put a pause and basically going to say, hey, let's come up with, something unique and different based on what we can offer our communities. And every client's in a different, space on that. And we're just here to make sure that we are lending support, reassuring them that we're here. And then, of course, just not making it about the contract, right? It really is about getting through this and finding the humanity in everything that we're doing.
It would be nice if in the not too distant future, we could have a discussion about, now that it's leveled off, how a brand's starting to come back. Do you have any visions, or is that too aspirational at the moment?
Well, I think ultimately we know we're going to come out. What we now know, what we've got to, use this time to do is figure out, well, what would that look like? Mm-hmm. So we're doing quite a bit of scenario planning. What happens if, we never all kind of come back, right? That could be, a positive on a lot of levels, right? This could give opportunities to people who haven't had it in the past because they were forced to come into the office, right? All of a sudden, it's okay to work from home.
Right.
And that could be a tremendous upside for communities that have been disenfranchised, whether it be moms or the differently abled. I'm really excited about some of those opportunities coming out of this, whereas I think we've kind of dispelled the myth that people can't be productive from home.
That's great. It is a more inclusive concept in a way where more people, anybody and everybody can contribute, dependent on, if they've got 10 kids or they've got a big job or whatever. That's a great point. Something I've kind of noticed, because I sit here near the window, I've noticed a tremendous amount of cardinals and blue jays.
Yeah.
I think the pollution has kind of been knocked down a bit, and birds are like kind of ready to
fly again.
Yeah, and fly again. So, there is some good coming out of this, and hopefully we can retain the good and put away the bad. Do you think that your multicultural clients are reacting any differently than other branded targets these days, or you think it's all along similar?
I don't think we're seeing a severe difference between, multicultural and GM. I think right now it is coming down to humanity in general. I think, one of the things we're looking at and have been, kind of tracking is how are maybe different cultures looking at this differently. Or behaving differently. We don't have scientific knowledge, but what we've seen is, certainly communities of color, African American and Hispanic seem to be overly sensitive. I see a lot more of them in masks and gloves than I do of other cultures. But an Asian culture has always kind of had that mask like culture. So it's interesting to see that adoption rate and understanding there. But in general, it would be interesting as my team's been doing some social listening and looking in. We'd love to come back and give you some learnings as we know a little bit more about how the different cultures are approaching COVID a little differently.
That'll be fascinating, and you'll be in a great bird seat to communicate that. That's excellent. What would you tell? We're a group of media owners, of agencies, of brands, of all companies outside the home. What would you tell media owners these days in terms of any guidance or advice to them?
Well, I would just say stay the course, first and foremost, but also this is time to innovate, right? It's time to think outside the box, right? It's a beautiful time to dream, right? Dream about those things that you wanted to do. I see VR going, this should, really ramp VR and augmented reality and get all of that, in that hopper. Really, a good time to dream and put some of those things that you've been kind of thinking maybe later. let's make it now.
Look, you're working from home. You're a mother. You're a CEO. You're a wife. You're a juggler. You're doing quite a lot now. Is there anything, Monique, that kind of is inspiring you in your new office these days to kind of keep it kind of smiling throughout the week?
Yeah, this is the most time I've spent with my children since I've had them. And
really?
It is just...
and they're 40 years old now.
They're 40, right. Exactly. Yeah. They're respectively 6 and 3. So that's awesome. But I mean, usually I don't get to spend more than a week at a time with them. So this has been, wonderful. It's been great to kind of have the catbird seat into watching their learning and seeing them all day. Is a unique situation. My husband isn't home much since he's a health professional, so he's actually in and out. So I don't share that scenario as a lot of my other colleagues do. But it's a good time to connect, and I'm taking the time that we're given, whether I wanted it or not, to really look at this as a time to reconnect with family. Reach out to people that I've cared for and wanted to reach out to without this, hectic travel schedule, right? This just does give you a few more hours in the day. And I'm utilizing that to really connect and spend some quality time, not only with colleagues, but with family and friends as well.
Well, as I've always said, you're a very inspirational leader, and I think those are some great words to end it on. So thank you so much for joining us today. Monique Nelson, CEO, and it's now called UWG.
Absolutely.
Formerly Uniworld. Thank you so much.